Oh my God.
Ah!
So, you guys have seen the title and the thumbnail. So you know what we just watched. Moses, what did we just watch?
Good old Hereditary.
Good is definitely true. It's a fantastic movie. So review over. We can go home and go to sleep. So it's super late. We weren't able to start the film until 1 o'clock because that's when the film file became unencrypted via the studio. So thanks for that. Instead of the normal 12 o'clock. Appreciate it.
We're here for you guys. Get you this information.
We suffer for you. So, suffer. Definitely. That was such a good movie. That was one of the scariest horror films I've seen in a long time.
Easy. Of all of the good ones that have come out, The Conjuring, Insidious, Babadook, that has The Witch. That was a film that you try to guess what's going on. It keeps you alert.
You're not gonna guess right. That's for sure.
It's one of those movies where you think you're waiting for like a dull moment or something, and it does not come. It is a movie that builds in suspense. So with that, let's start getting into how about writing?
Writing was phenomenal. Like you said, almost impossible to predict what was going to happen next. They would lead you one way and then punch you with the other hand. God, that sound is gonna haunt me forever.
Just that one? Okay.
Yeah. Oh my God, Moses, please. I can only take so much. My fragile heart. So the writing's amazing. Super solid throughout. I loved the pacing of the movie. I loved that it's just slowly gained speed and just kept going faster and faster, and that it was not only reflected in the writing, but in the cinematography. I just thought all around it was an extremely well-written movie.
Oh, yeah. Elaborating on writing, not to delve too much into it, I felt it painted each character beautifully.
You cared for the characters, for sure.
Exactly. It really humanized them while at the same time still pushing the envelope of what a horror movie is.
Yeah.
And
very much so.
It takes you to the extremes. I can tell you, I'm sure it didn't help that we were watching this phenomenal piece at
3 in the morning.
3 in the morning in a movie theater all by ourselves, and it was terrifying.
Someone turned on their phone flashlight. I'm not gonna say who, but someone did.
It was horrific. Towards the end of it, I was just blabbering for the sake of mentally distancing myself from what I was witnessing.
There were some coping mechanisms used, that's for sure.
So with that, let's delve into cinematography.
Yeah, sure. We can stick into that. Along with what I said, the writing is reflected in the cinematography, and the use of both camera angles and camera techniques as accompanying tools to the writing were just phenomenal. The movie starts out as a slow burn. All the camera movements are slow or static. As the movie goes on, camera starts panning faster. Camera starts cutting between people faster. Everything just starts moving faster and faster. And like you just start like subconsciously moving forward in your seat, and you're like, oh my God, I just don't want to watch this anymore, but I love it. It's just so well done. The lighting, the cinematography. I believe you had one moment that you were a huge fan of right at the beginning of the film.
Yes. Straight out the bat, the intro scene is beautifully done. You come in, I don't usually watch trailers for movies, so I don't have any premise for them, kind of remaining unbiased. So you come in, it's a setting of a household, a room. You see there's all these tiny models all around the room. And then you see this dollhouse that the camera, as throughout the film, is just slowly panning in. And it starts going into this particular bedroom of this dollhouse. And you're like, okay, what's going on? And as it comes into it, you see the father who, gets introduced shortly, walking into the room, and it takes on the place of this film. And I feel like that speaks volumes about what is to unfold throughout this beautiful piece of film.
Yeah. I think in regards to that theme continues throughout the film. All the houses are portrayed from a distance, and they almost look like doll houses. All the buildings that they're in almost seem like they're framed and set up so that they look surreal. Like they're very realistic buildings. It's, a schoolroom, a funeral home, little things like that. Things that are familiar, but just look so cold and distant at the same time.
Yeah.
And, props to the directing team. Ari Aster, that's a phenomenal directorial debut for your first feature film.
Oh my God.
You crushed it, my dude. I wish I had been brave enough to stick around in that theater to see who the director of photography was, but
yeah,
whoever you are, kudos to you. You freaked me out so much I had to leave. I thought it was just great all around. And then let's just talk about acting real quick, and then we can get into the spoiler area.
Oh yeah, dude. Acting was incredible. What's his name? Alex Wolff?
Alex Wolff from Jumanji.
Jumanji.
He was in Jumanji 2 Return or Welcome to the Jungle back in December, and he was really funny in that. I enjoyed his character. And then in this one, this is just a huge shift for him.
Oh my God.
Watching this movie, I know this kid is going places. 100%.
Yeah, the versatility in this character, the emotion he pours through, and of course that's accompanied by writing, but it really showcased once again a humanized character and a spiraling
just tragedy.
Yeah.
Just,
oh my God.
Nothing gets better. Just nothing.
Yeah, and the fact that you don't know where anything's going, and of course this moves to Toni Collette,
who played the mother and just killed it.
Oh, she sells the movie, in my opinion.
Watching her character's descent into madness over the course of the film is just amazing.
Oh my God! And then what was?
It's a whole bunch of traumatic events, just back and back and back.
Yeah, and it just goes one which way and another, and I feel like it does a good part of.
I feel like it's really hard to talk about any of the acting stuff without spoiling. So let's just go ahead into the spoiler zone. All right, so Toni Collette, you killed it. You killed a lot of things in that movie.
Yes.
That was horrific. There's a particular scene that freaked me the hell out that I would call this movie's pea soup moment, because everyone's comparing this movie to The Exorcist. And I would actually agree with that. I could definitely see this being this generation's Exorcist, as the reviewers like to toss out there. But there's a scene where Alex Wolff's character, Peter, runs up in the attic to escape his mother, who has been possessed by some sort of spirit. And he runs up and closes up the door behind him. And, the ceiling is like 8 feet up, 9 feet up. They have to use a hook to open up the attic. And all of a sudden, you hear the mom knocking on the door, which you think is like, how is she doing that? I mean, we saw her climbing on the walls earlier, so theoretically, she could just be smacking her hand on the... No, they didn't do that. They have her slamming her head against the door of the attic while also adding this motion blur to her head that just made it horrific and inhuman and just grotesque. And that vision is going to haunt my nightmares.
And I would say my favorite... there's contentions of points here. But being the climax of the movie, I say this, the most horrifying part came right after that. He's in this attic. There's all this tragedy that's unfolding around him. People are dead. There's flies everywhere. He's in this weirdly lit attic room with candles, and suddenly he hears this gushing noise, and he slowly creeps around, his nose broken and everything, and there's just this blood, and you just see his mother, who somehow through dark magic has teleported into this attic
and is floating 4 feet above the floor,
and she's just doing this horrific manner, and you just see her hands going into her chest, and you're like, oh, is she stabbing herself? You're like, all right, cool, this is the most like calm moment of the movie and the fact that there's blood squirting out. No, she is not just stabbing herself, but in fact going with the theme of other things that have died, decapitating herself. And the word, like,
And, you know, Peter, reacting like any normal person would in that situation, just jumped out of the window, which I stand by was the smartest thing he'd done in the film, just period.
and the tasteful part is that you don't even get to see her head fall off. When he jumps out the window, it's him landing in this like somewhat flowers.
It was like it was a garden. Yeah.
And there's just this sick
Wet thunk.
as you can tell that is her head falling off, and you just see the shadow. Is still the camera's still angled at him on the flower bed from a bird's eye angle, and you see a decapitated corpse shadows flying across.
Yep. Slowly float across the frame. And then we get to see that headless body floating. That was fun. I'm going to see that a few times.
Yeah, and the juxtaposition, I would say, the other horrifying point is when Charlie dies and they don't show the body at all.
The little sister, yeah.
Yeah, Peter just keeps on cruising home. He goes in his bed, traumatized. And then it cuts almost directly to her rotting fucking head on the side of the road.
Distended and smashed. The tongue sticking out. Ants all over it. This movie's fucked up, man.
It is.
But it's so good. Let's go ahead and wrap this up. Go see the movie.
Go see it. Go take
It's horrific. Take your friends, please.
Not for the light of heart, but all the same.
You need to hold someone's hand. Just be there for your friends, because you're all going to need a moment after this movie. But yeah, just full admission price. Go this weekend if you can. Catch it with a crowd, because I'm sure the crowd reactions are going to just enhance the movie.
Exactly. All right.
Thank you guys so much for watching again. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe down below. Every little bit helps. We are a small channel, so any type of engagement is great. If you comment, we'll comment back, because we know there's not that many of you, and we appreciate every single one of you.
We do.
All right, and remember, we'll see you next week in the front seat. Bye, guys.
Bye.